So tonight we're talking about the love life of the Leo ascendant and the twists and turns that we go through with regards to our love life. Now, let's see, how do I want to start this? Okay. So in astrology, as most of you know, we have 12 houses in astrology. And the houses represent 12 different areas of our life, okay? And tonight we're talking about the 7th house. And the 7th house is the house of partnerships. It's the house of relationships, one-on-one relationships. It's the house of marriage, long-term commitments. It's a house of business partners, legal affairs are in this house, but it is the conscious chosen relationships that we go into with another person. And to stay on topic, we are going to talk about the component of this house that has to do with our romantic connections to someone else. So this could look like marriage, long-term commitment, or are singles that are seeking a long-term relationship. Okay? Now, in astrology, we have the 12 houses. The 7th house is the house of our long-term relationships. The 5th house, I'll just throw it in there, is the house of dating. Okay? So there's a difference between dating and long-term commitment. We all know that. Some of us don't. Some of us think dating and long-term commitment is the same. And we're going to touch a little bit on that because they are not the same. And this is one of the things that trips up Leo risings, is not knowing the difference. So now we have the 7th house is the house of marriage and long-term partnerships and relationships. Each house is assigned a zodiac depending on when you were born and your rising sign. You see, your rising sign, which is Leo rising, governs the 1st house. And the 1st house is the house of yourself, your physical body, your identity, how you express yourself, and how people experience you. So this is all about yourself. And in astrology, each house has an opposite house. And so the 7th house, which is the house of the we, because the 1st house is the house of me, and the 7th house is across the street, is the house of we. This is how we do relationships. So the opposite sign of Leo is the sign of Aquarius. So your 1st house is ruled by Leo, and your 7th house is ruled by Aquarius. This is for every Leo rising across the board. Your 7th house ruler is Aquarius. Okay? Stop me if anybody has a question. I don't want to go too fast or too far. So, Aquarius is the ruler of the 7th house, which means the 7th house takes on the characteristics of Aquarius. So your 7th house, your relationship, your marriages, your one-on-one commitments are going to operate in the energy of Aquarius. So what we want to discuss now is, what are some of the characteristics of Aquarius? And keep in mind, Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus. In modern astrology, each sign is assigned a planet. And in modern astrology, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. But in traditional astrology, it is also ruled by Saturn. And that is going to come in a little bit later in the discussion on how this operates. But for now, we're going to quickly talk about some of the characteristics of Aquarius. So, when you think about Aquarius, Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac. And some of the Aquarian qualities are, it governs friendships, our friend groups. It governs our social groups that we're a part of. It governs technology. But the characteristics of Aquarius is Aquarius is the sign that is the revolutionary. It does not like to do anything in the same way. It is the reformer of the zodiac. So it wants forward, fresh, new ideas. It doesn't want to be like anyone else. It does not go by the status quo. This is the planet, the sign that is very unpredictable. There's a lot of unexpected changes with this sign, and it just marches to the beat of its own drummer, in a nutshell. Now, it is governed by the planet Uranus. And the best example that I can give you about Uranus is the only planet of all the planets that when it is in orbit, it orbits on its side. So it tilts and orbits on its side. So that should tell you about the energy of Aquarius. You remember, I don't remember if you guys remember Sesame Street, and they used to have this thing, one of these things is not like the other. Which one is doing its own thing? That would be Aquarius, okay? So it's very different. So its approach to life is going to be very different. So keep in mind, this is the energy that governs your 7th house. So with that being said, that means your relationships are going to be very different. They are going to have a level of unpredictability about them, unexpected change. They're going to look different and feel different than other people's relationships. And they're just going to have very different experiences with regards to your relationships. So always expect the unexpected when it comes to relationships, when you have Aquarius on your 7th house. Okay? Do we have any questions so far? Because next we're going to talk about some of the ways that this Aquarius energy shows up in your relationships. Okay? No questions? All right. So, we now know that Aquarius governs your 7th house. We know Aquarius is a very unpredictable energy. So this should also already answer a lot of questions with regards to some of your relationship experiences that you've had. It definitely answers a lot of questions with mine. Now, some of the things that will be a theme of your relationships will look like your relationships start really quickly, but they end just as quickly. They end with sometimes no reason, nothing happens. They just end for whatever reason. Sometimes there's no reason at all, okay? Your relationships have a different type of component. Now, Aquarius is a sign that you have to remember that sometimes, and a lot of times, detaches from emotion. They are really, really skilled at detaching from the emotional component of themselves. So that could be a thing that's in your relationships. A lot of times Leo risings will draw partners to them that are emotionally unavailable. Okay? So this could look like you meet someone, or you're dealing with someone in a romantic setting, and there's no emotional connection between the two of you. Or this person could possibly be just emotionally shut down. So you're not able to connect with that person on an emotional level. Now, this could also look like drawing in partners that are attached emotionally to someone else. Okay? So even if they're not in a relationship and there's no one else, they're not seeing anybody else, their emotional or their emotions or their heart is still attached to someone else. So it is not available to you. Okay? Now, this can also be the reverse, because over the years I did find this out about myself. A lot of times Leo risings truly believe that they are emotionally available. And come to find out later on, when you start to do your work and being self-aware on who you are, you find out that you are not as emotionally available as you thought you were. Okay? So that was a lesson that I had to find out. I really believed that I was emotionally available. I was ready to be connected with someone. And come to find out, I wasn't. It wasn't them. It was me. That emotional unavailability on our part. Exactly. There we go. Guilty. It is what it is. This is a night that we are going to be self-aware and we're going to really be honest with ourselves. Okay? Thank you so much for being transparent. Now, another thing that gets us in trouble with Leo risings are Aquarius is a very independent sign. Very, very independent. And Aquarius energy prides itself and really, really is serious about its freedom. Okay? So a lot of times, one of the problems that I don't like to say problems, one of the challenges that we have in our relationships are feeling that our freedom is being hindered. Okay? And also, our level of independence can be somewhat intimidating to other people. And I don't know how to rectify that. Yes, they do. They do. So sometimes when people are in a relationship with us, or trying to get to know us, our independence intimidates people. Sometimes they have not experienced that level of independence before. Particularly with Leo rising women that are in a heterosexual relationship. This really, really comes off in a negative way dealing with men. Okay? So it can be a problem. It is what it is. We could try our best to try to calm it down, but we don't know any other way. We're such a very independent type of sign, and that's just the way we move in life. Now, another problem that we have is that the component of us not being emotionally available. And we believe that we are, but the other person is not feeling it. So I've had the experience where I've had men tell me, I couldn't figure out whether you were in or out. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm in this. I'm saying the words. Yeah, I'm in this. I want to be in this relationship. But they were feeling my energy was I was emotionally disconnected and I was not giving everything. You could I guess they could feel that I was holding back in some way. So this happens with us a lot. Now, sometimes it takes us a long time to become self-aware of that. So sometimes it does. It seems as if everybody on here is kind of aware of that energy that you give off. But sometimes we don't learn that until later on. I am guilty of learning it later on, and I'm still struggling with it. But I'm trying. I'm trying as much as I can. Now, one of the biggest issues that we have with our love life is Aquarius is on our 7th house, and I'm going to keep reiterating how this energy does not like to do things the way everyone else does. If you are a Leo rising, I'm just going to explain to you probably why you have been struggling with your relationships. It's because you are trying to make your relationship look like everyone else's. Okay? Your relationship is not meant to look like everyone else's. Most Leo risings are trying to build a traditional relationship based on probably society standards, what your friends say a relationship should look like, what your family says your relationship should look like, and the biggest thing is, if you are in organized religion, trying to follow what organized religion is telling you what your relationship should look like. If you do not get to a point in your life where you decide that you are going to carve out the relationship that fits you, you will continue to struggle in the area of relationships, because it is not supposed to look like everyone else's. And I'm going to give you some examples of what I'm talking about. You're trying to have a relationship that looks like your husband, the wife, 2.5 children, the dog, the white picket fence, you in the house, you in the kitchen, cooking meals in an apron, your husband coming home. You're trying to look like that. You're trying to make it look like that, and that is not Leo rising energy. Now, could it be? Yes, it could. And it has a lot to do with the other factors that are going on in your personal chart, because that may be right for you, but you have to look at your individual personal chart to determine that. But for the most part, there is going to be a component to your relationship that is different from everyone else's. So some examples of relationships that are not like everyone else's. This could be someone deciding to be in a polyamorous relationship. So you decided that y'all, it's gonna be 3 of y'all in this relationship. It works for y'all, okay? This could look like, for example, a sister wives type relationship. It works for you. This goes against everything society says you're supposed to do, what your friends say you're supposed to do. You need to go ahead and log in. Hold on. This goes against everything you believe to be true, or this could look like okay, and let me give you an example for me. And I say this jokingly, but a part of me actually thinks that this might work for me. I always say that, I want to be married. Yes, I want to be married in the tradition. I want to be married. I want a husband. However, I love living alone. I love living alone. I love my own things. I love my space. I just love to have my time to myself. I keep saying that ideally my marriage would look like I have a house and my husband has a house next door to me, and a few nights a week we stay at his house, a few nights a week we stay at my house, and when I get into that mood that I don't want to be bothered, well, he can be at his house and I can be at my house. But it works for us. Now, other people may look at that relationship or that setup and say, that is the strangest thing I ever seen in my life. I don't see how their marriage is working, blah, 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 blah. They have all these opinions about it. But for the two of us, we're happy. This works for us. And that is what I want Leo risings to understand. You have to do your relationship the way it works for you and not worry about what other people think of your relationship. And I know that it's hard because you feel that, you see what I'm talking about? You see, you're a Leo rising. You understand that. See, another Leo rising would not find that to be strange. They wouldn't, okay? Now, some of the things that you'll find with your relationships are, and I've seen this a lot, having long distance relationships come up a lot with Leo risings. Long distance relationships. Somehow the people are not physically together comes up a lot with the dynamics of our relationships. So this could be a couple that doesn't have a problem with being in a relationship and having distance between them. But other people are looking at this like, well, how do y'all have a successful relationship and y'all don't even see each other every day, or y'all are not in the same space? It works. It just works. Because possibly, if these two people were living together and on top of each other every day, this would drive Leo rising crazy. It would drive us crazy. Okay? Now, this also looks like, I feel like Leo risings don't have a type per se. Again, depending on what's going on in the natal chart, you might. But for the most part, I don't know that Leo risings particularly have a type. I feel like the most important component in a Leo rising relationship is the friendship component. There has to be a friendship established. And I know everybody loves to say, oh, you need to be friends with your partner, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that's true. But for a Leo rising, it is very important that you guys establish a friendship with each other, because Aquarius governs friends. And it's very important that you guys have the friendship component. So making sure when you're in these relationships that you're friends, that you actually like each other, okay? You can love who you want to love. You can be in love with someone, but you don't necessarily, can sometimes necessarily like them, okay? So you have to be able to like the person that you're with and see them as your friend or your best friend, okay? Because that goes a long way with you. Now, let's get back to the type thing. All right. And when I'm talking about gender. I don't care what kind of relationship you're in. I don't care what gender you are. We're just talking about Leo risings in general. Leo risings are going to have to get away from dating their type. If you are a Leo rising and you have not found a successful relationship and you are still struggling to find it, it probably is because you're trying to date a type. And your type ain't working. It ain't working. So let me give you an example of how this could possibly play out. Let's say you're a Leo rising woman and you are physically, keep that in mind, attracted to men that are 6'2", chocolate, bald-headed, the Michael Jordan prototype. That is your physical type. And you have been dating your physical type for years, but it has not been working. It has been a challenge. It ain't working. You have not found any type of happiness or success with that, and you just don't know what to do. There's going to have to come a time that you are going to have to say to yourself, my type don't work for me. So I need to open up to the universe and ask the universe to bring me the person that is divinely made for me, that meets my needs internally, whomever that person could be. And the next thing the universe does is put you in proximity to a 5'5", white, balding, middle-aged, pot-bellied man. However y'all meet, okay? And you meet this person and he clearly is not your type physically. However, I don't know, maybe he in some way charms you into going out with him, and you go out on a date with him and you enjoy it. You enjoy the date. And you enjoy it so much until you decide you will go out on a second date with him. Now again, this man is not your physical type, but there is something about him that you like. And at some point, you guys strike up a friendship. You really enjoy your time with him. He's a good conversationalist. He's funny. He's smart. You guys have a lot in common. He exposes you to different things. You expose him to different things. You guys just get along and you enjoy the time together. And then at some point, before you even know it, you've fallen in love with him. And you've fallen in love with him because he meets your needs. He checks off all the boxes. He's a provider. He's a protector. He makes you feel safe. He makes you laugh. He takes care of your heart. He makes you feel safe. He's nothing like you thought you would end up with. But he is everything that you need because you opened up. This is the energy of having Aquarius on the 7th house. There is a high likelihood that who you end up with once you do the work on yourself is not going to be who you thought you would end up with. So, Leo risings, you have to open up to the possibility. And this is another thing, that you have to open up to the possibility that the person that you end up with is going to be vastly different than you thought. And this could look like someone of a different race, someone of a different culture, maybe someone from a different country, or maybe just someone that is physically not someone you thought that you would be drawn to. You have to open yourself up to the possibility. Now, in all honesty, this Aquarius energy pretty much guarantees that the person is going to be, something's going to be different about them. Something is going to be different about them. Now, I have to say this. If you are a race loyal person, if you are the person that wants to have, you can only see yourself with black love, you can only see yourself with Latino love or Asian love, and it's nothing wrong with that, because of course you want to, for the most part, most people want to end up in a relationship with someone that looks like them, that's from the same culture as them, because it's a level of comfort and familiarity to you, that relationship. If you have been race loyal, culture loyal, or whatever loyalty you have to a particular type of person, you are going to have to get out of that. You're going to have to get out of that. Aquarius is not this energy for that. And you may be painting yourself into a corner because you're trying to have a relationship with someone that is not connected to you emotionally simply because they come in the right package. You are going to have to let go of that. So I'm going to stop right here. And is there any questions or anything that anybody needs me to go over really quickly with regards to what we've talked about so far? Or if anyone has anything to share. Okay. One other thing that I need to backtrack on with regards, and this is for my, and I'm talking primarily to my single Leo risings, or my Leo risings that are just getting into a relationship or so. You got to slow down. You got to slow down. You remember at the top of the discussion, we talked about some of the themes of our relationships. Our relationships start really, really quickly, and then they fizzle out and end just as quickly. That is because we jumped just way too fast. Way, way, way too fast. We have to slow down and make sure we are going at a pace that we can enjoy the relationship. Okay? Now, I also forgot something. When you have Aquarius on the 7th house and you're a Leo rising, there is a high possibility that there could be more than one marriage in your lifetime, or definitely more than one significant relationship in your life. Now, this is how this could play out. If you are a Leo rising and you are in your early 20s and you get married. Now, and this is not for everyone, so I can't just make a blanket statement for everyone. However, I can just kind of tell you that this may come up. If you're in your 20s and you decide to marry, there is a high probability that that relationship or that marriage will not last. And there will be a second marriage for you. And possibly a third if you don't get it right. Or if you're in your 20s and you get married and you guys stay together, that relationship could struggle. You could definitely struggle with keeping that relationship together well into your 30s. It may be a number of years before you get that relationship on solid footing. So it is always best for Leo risings to try to wait until they're in their 30s to get married, because the longer you wait, it lessens the probability of being a second or multiple marriages in your life, especially if you're one of those Leo risings that is going to do the work and be self-aware of how to do relationships. Okay, now there's also maybe two types of Leo risings: those that get married really, really early, and those that wait to marry kind of late, past 30 or so. Those that wait to a little bit later have a higher probability of having a successful marriage or successful long-term relationship. And also keep in mind, long-term relationships, you don't necessarily have to be married. That's another thing that you need not get caught up on. You don't have to have a traditional legal binding marriage. Don't do it for the sake of you feel like you should, or you feel like that's the only way you can have a successful, happy relationship. Don't do it for that reason. There are plenty of people out there that have long-term relationships without the benefit of marriage, and they are just as happy. Now, what I will say is put some legal paperwork in place that you are protected within this relationship. Just don't be out there just willy-nilly and you're not financially protected in this long-term commitment. Don't be silly and don't be stupid. But if you don't feel like you need the benefit of marriage in the sense of marriage, don't do it. If you feel like you and this person work well together, just with you guys having a long-term commitment with each other and it works for you, then do that. But please have the benefit of some legal paperwork drawn up so you and the other person can be protected, and financially, and with regards to when or if the other person passes away, you want to make sure you're protected. Yes, a lot of states don't honor common law marriages. Absolutely. And let me tell you something. Even if they did honor them, I would still have some legal paperwork drawn up to protect myself from the state coming in taking my stuff, or somebody's family coming in trying to take my stuff or put me out. Protect yourself. I'm just saying that. But I want you to make sure that you are defining your relationship the way you want to define it. You are making it look like the way you want to make it look and how it works for you. And don't worry about what other people have to say about it. Because let me tell you, everybody on here knows there's a lot of people out there in these legal binding marriages that are miserable as hell. Miserable as hell. So they really can't tell you anything about your marriage or your relationship and give an opinion on what you're doing in your unique, happy marriage. They miserable as fuck. There ain't no way in the world somebody gonna tell me just because you're married to someone and y'all are living like, society says y'all could live, y'all supposed to live, but y'all are miserable, but you're gonna try to tell me that me having a house and my husband living next door is crazy, but we happy as hell. No, ma'am. Define what you want in a relationship and don't let anybody tell you any differently. There's no such thing as doing it the wrong way. I think, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people would have had a lot more successful relationships and marriages had they just done it the way they wanted to do it. We wouldn't have a divorce rate at 50%. So clearly, exactly, miserable as fuck. So our divorce rates are at 50%. So obviously, marriage is not the be all end all. It is not the cure to everything. It just does not guarantee that you're going to have success. So this is a time that I feel like, it just came to me. We are in the age of Aquarius. This is the time when people are going to do things differently. We are revolutionizing our lives here. We are making it look like we want it to look and what makes you happy. So whatever that is, do that for yourself and not worry about what other people think. at a 50% divorce rate, you can't tell me shit about relationships and what I should be doing to make me happy. I'm sorry, I just can't. I just can't. You just can't tell me anything about that. Now, I don't know. I don't know everything. You know, clearly I haven't had any success with relationships because I'm single myself. However, I do know that the way I was doing relationships just wasn't working, so I need to do something differently. If you want a different result, you're going to have to do something differently, arising. Unfortunately, we have one of the most challenging placements for relationships. We have the most challenging, okay? So it's because we can't do it like everybody else's. We can't do relationships like a Taurus or a Cancer. You know, they're very traditional, or a Capricorn. That's not how we're designed to do relationships. Oh, thank you, honey. So I want y'all to get that in your head. So do we have any questions? Because we're about to move on to some good news that I am so excited to share with y'all. Do we have any questions about this? So overall, the things that we need to be mindful of. We need to take our time when it comes to relationships. We need to take our time. I don't think we have to go at a snail's pace, but because we're Leo risings, we love love, and we love the courtship, and we love the hugs and the kisses and all of that, and we just want to be, you know, with this person, but we need to slow down. We need to slow down, okay? Because again, from experience, our relationship starts so great and then they fizzle out, okay? So we're going to slow down. We are going to open up our options. If you are one of those Leo risings, again, that has been very, very race loyal, culture loyal, whatever loyalty you've had, do you feel attacked? No, that's for everybody, because I'm the same way. That's for everybody. But if you've been one of those that has a type, a physical type, whether it's a race type, a culture type, a height type, or whatever the type is, you got to get that out of your head. You have got to get that out of your head, because the likelihood of you ending up with your type is not very high. Remember, this is the plan. This is the sign of unexpected change, doing it differently. So your soulmate, again, may not look like anything or anybody you've ever dated, but you won't know that if you don't open up and be open to other people and be open to other cultures, other races, other body types. We have to be open to that, okay? It's very important that our relationships have a friendship component to it. We have to be friends with this person. As I said before, everybody loves to say, this is my best friend, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's fine for them. But for us, it is very, very important that we are friends with our partner. It is very, very important that we not only love our partner, that we like our partner, okay? Does anyone have any questions? Did I confuse anyone? I feel like I confused people. She said, I feel like this. No, I am not attacking you. I'm attacking all of us tonight. Okay, so if we don't have any questions, let's move on to 2022. Okay. And this has everything to do with whether you're single, thank you. Whether you're single, in a committed relationship, or married. 2022, we are finally going to get some relief. Finally going to get some relief. Okay, so let's talk about what's been happening with us, because this energy of relationships didn't just start now. Now, for this year, and probably a little bit of the latter part of 2019, I know a lot of us were focused on just staying alive and getting through the panorama. That was the biggest focus. However, I do believe that during the shutdown, a lot of us had time to start to do some inner work on ourselves, okay? You should have felt this energy right as we started to shut down and everything was going into hibernation and we couldn't move around. Then we had to sit with ourselves, because I want to tell you, not only is the seventh house the house of one-on-one relationships, it is also the house of the most important relationship you will ever have in your life, and that is the relationship with yourself. So 2020 started the process. It started the process. And then 2021 went into us really starting to take relationships seriously, and trying to figure out what we wanted in a relationship, what we wanted in a partner. What were we doing to sabotage our relationships? We were really taking it seriously. I hope you guys were taking it seriously. Even if you didn't know what this was the energy that you were in, and it had everything to do with your one-on-one relationships. One of the biggest things that I ended up doing was, a few months ago, I finally resolved that I needed to go to therapy. And I made a connection and a partnership with a therapist, and it's been the best thing ever. So that relationship with yourself is the primary relationship that you need to take care of. And then we're going to go on to the relationship with other people. And let me tell you, you had a lot of support from Jupiter. So Jupiter's been in your house of relationships for the last year and some change. And it's about to make its way out of that seventh house. Now, this is going to be, the timing is going to be different for everyone because we don't all have the same birthday. There's other factors going on. But for the most part, everyone has been dealing with Jupiter in the seventh house. Now, Jupiter is the planet of opportunity, growth, expansion, wisdom, and healing. It is also the spiritual planet. So when Jupiter comes into a house, Jupiter is coming in there to bring growth and optimism and healing. It's there to bring wisdom. And Jupiter also is the planet of educating ourselves and learning. So a lot of my Leo risings, hopefully all of you on this live, were doing work with regards to relationships. Even if you were already in a marriage or a long-term partnership, there was something in the dynamics of your relationship that compelled you to want to do it better. Now, there may have been a shakeup in the relationships. Some people may have broken up. Some people may have gone through some challenges with it in the relationship. But it was a period of trying to figure it out. And Jupiter was there to help you with that. Now, if you were a single Leo rising, now, this may have looked like for you definitely trying to figure out, I want to be in a relationship. I want the next one to be the one. I want it to be healthy. So I want to make sure that I know what I'm looking for. I know what I need. I know what I bring to the table. Some of you may have started educating yourself, self-help books, looking at YouTube, looking at different, videos with regards to relationships and reading books. So however you educated yourself on relationships, you were doing that. Maybe you went into some kind of counseling with your pastor or your whomever, a relationship guru, whoever. Or you went into counsel with someone that you trust that's in a good marriage and they were helping you. But you were seeking out knowledge on how to do relationships at this time. Now, some of you may have benefited from Jupiter in another way. Jupiter is all about bringing quantity. So some of you may have been able to meet new people. There may have been a lot of people coming into your life that were dating opportunities for you or opportunities for you to start a relationship. So maybe you had that kind of energy going on. But whatever it is, it was definitely, this year has been a prime focus has been a lot on your relationships. And hopefully you did the work and you learned the lessons and you're ready to move forward in a more positive direction with your relationships. Now, Jupiter is about to leave the seventh house. And again, it's going to be leaving at different times depending on everyone's, natal chart. But for the most part, it will be leaving. Some of you, it's going to be leaving as early as the end of this month, and some of you may be leaving at the end of January. So all within the next couple of months, Jupiter is going to move on to the 8th house, okay? Now, two of the primary points with a planet in a house is when a planet is entering the house and when it's leaving. So, because Jupiter is leaving, there may be a shakeup of some sort, some type of change, some type of blessing or benefit with regards to your relationship. Maybe some of you meet someone within the next few weeks. Okay, I'm going to leave this up so you can come back and listen to it. Okay, so some of you may have a shift in your current relationship, and all of a sudden you guys are on the same page. Maybe there's a little bit of disruption. Maybe some of you meet someone, fall in love with someone. But whatever it is, as this Jupiter is leaving, it's definitely going to leave a blessing for you in some way. Or maybe it just leaves you with the feeling that, I feel good about the direction that I'm going in. I feel good that I'm going to meet someone that is going to be the person that's right for me. Whatever it is, Jupiter is going to leave you with that. Now, what is about to happen now is, as Jupiter is leaving, the planet Saturn and is entering into the 7th house. Now, Saturn is the planet of, this is where the patience come in, because the work is about to start. Okay, the real work is about to start. So Saturn is entering into this 7th house. And Saturn is the planet of restriction, delay. Saturn is the planet of structure. It's the planet of responsibility, discipline, and laying a foundation and maturity. Now, I know you're probably saying to yourself, that does not sound like the planet that I want to be in my relationship house, because it doesn't sound like there's any good to that. But that is not true. You want Saturn in this area because this is going to be the planet that is going to give you the stability and the foundation that you have been missing in your relationships. Okay? This is the planet that you want there, because this is all about setting a solid foundation for your relationships. Now, what could possibly happen for my single Leo risings is, if you were one of those, I know it doesn't, but it gets better, I promise. Now, if you were one of those Leo risings that benefited from Jupiter bringing a lot of people into your life and having, different experiences and Saturn's going to knock all of that out, because Saturn ain't about that. Saturn is about, where Jupiter is about quantity, Saturn is about quality. So you will still have people coming into your life, but these are going to be quality people. These are going to be the people that you want to have in your life. These are going to be the people that have the qualities that you're looking for in a long-term partner, mate, husband, spouse, or whatever that is for you. Now, as far as my Leo risings that are currently coupled up or married, this is going to possibly bring a disruption in your relationship. I'm not going to lie. It's probably because what Saturn is doing is, Saturn wants to come in and see what is of value and what is of waste. So to do that, there may be a disruption in your current relationship. There may be a breakup. There may be a strain on the relationship, because Saturn wants to see if this relationship is really here and it's made to stand the test of time. So that could come up over the next few months with my Leo risings that are in partnerships with someone else, dating, long-term commitment, or marriage. You could experience a shakeup in your relationships. Okay? If the relationship is solid, if this is a relationship that's supposed to be in your life, you will get through this. If it's not, it is Saturn's job to go ahead and disrupt this and end this relationship, therefore opening the door for the person that's supposed to come into your life. Okay? I need you guys to start trusting the universe more. I need you to trust the universe knows what it's doing and not try to have such a tight hold over it. And I know that's easier said than done. I struggle with that. Especially in the area of my relationships. It's crazy because I would trust the universe for every other area of my life, but I struggle with trusting it with my relationships. And that should be the one area that I should stop, because I've been fucking it up for years. So clearly I don't know what I'm doing. So if you're one of those that cannot let go, I need you to let go and let Saturn, let the universe, the higher power, whatever it is that you believe in, do its work for you with regards to your relationships. Okay? Now, single Leo risings, this will definitely start to bring people into your life. It won't bring a lot of people, but the people that it brings will be quality people for you to possibly start something with. Okay? But you have to have patience, and you have to be able to do the work. Continuing to do the work on yourself, and really standing on what it is you said you want for yourself. This is not going to be the time that you've made this, you've done all this work and you've done all your internal work, and you've really done the work for yourself, and you are coming out a brand new person. This is not the time for you to go back and date the same type of person again. What was the point of you doing all the work if you're just going to go and pick the same person over again to have the same experience? Do not waste this. I mean, it would just be like, I'm trying to, it would be like, I don't know what it would be like, but it would be just stupid. It would just be dumb for you to do all this work and then just go back out there and do relationships just like you've been doing. Now, this transit of Saturn in the 7th house is going to be there for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Now, there's that word again. Patience. Good things come to those who wait. Patience. Now, it's going to be in this house for 2.5 years. Now, does that mean you're going to be struggling for 2.5 years? Actually, that's up to you. Because if you're struggling, it's because you want to struggle with relationships. That's solely up to you if you decide to struggle. But Saturn is there to help you do the work and help you to be mature and help you to see things clear and to give you the discernment that you need to know if this person is right for me. Am I getting all my needs fulfilled? Am I showing up as a good partner for this person? Am I getting what I need? Is this a reciprocal relationship? Are we both getting fed what we need in this relationship? Now, Saturn requires you to do the work, but Saturn will definitely reward you at the end of this. And I do believe that a lot of our Leo risings will have success in relationships. Now, for those of you that don't find anyone, this again is about the relationship within yourself. And do you know that there are a lot of people out there that just really don't want to be in a relationship? They just don't. A lot of people feel like they have to because, oh, I'm a certain age and I should be with someone. Or, oh, I don't want to, my family to start talking about me about you can't keep nobody. When in fact, they don't want to be coupled up. They just want to live their lives. And if that's what this transit helps you to discover, that's what it helps you to discover. I just want to be with myself, That's it. And it's okay. You just want to be with yourself because you have worked on the relationship with yourself. And it makes sense. Again, we have to do it different. We have to do it the way that makes us feel good. It has to be done that way. But I do believe that there are going to be some proposals. I do believe there's going to be some weddings. I do believe there's going to be some people moving in together. I do believe there's going to be people, having these monogamous relationships. I do believe there's people that's just going to be in the relationship that they never thought that they were going to be in, but they are going to be extremely, extremely happy. Okay? So, I don't know what else that I can say about this transit. Hold on a second. Let me get my little book here to see if I've missed anything. Does anyone have any questions while I am looking up some stuff? Oh, one thing, side note that I will give you guys. Be on the lookout for career changes. There are going to be a lot of career changes over the next couple of years for Leo risings. In a good way. In a very, very good way. Now I'm going to do a separate video on this, but I will give you this. During the Mercury retrograde, which is coming up January the 14th through February the 3rd, but you can probably already start to feel this energy at the end of the month. Some of my Leo risings may have some love interest returning into their life. Old lovers, old people that you used to date. If you're in a committed relationship, this may bring back old issues in a relationship that you thought were resolved, but it comes up again. I just want you to be prepared for things returning from the past with regards to your relationships. Okay? Be prepared for that. February and March, this is a good time to start dating. Putting yourself out there for my single Leo risings. February and March is a good time for you to start putting yourself out there again. Something should be changing in your dating life anyway. I think there's going to be quite a few dating opportunities for some of you. Actually, should have started now. I did have somebody call me. Okay, dating opportunities should start kicking up around about this time. Be on the lookout for people returning back to your life with regards to people that you may have dated, been in a relationship with around the end of the month, starting there. I don't know. I don't typically suggest that during a Mercury retrograde you go back to people. I feel like it's usually the universe's test to see if you're still stupid enough to go back to these people. But if there's someone in there that you felt like was the one that got away, you may get the opportunity to start this over again. That is up to you. But again, do not waste all this good work that you've done for yourself on somebody that doesn't deserve it. And I do feel like February, March will be a good time for my single Leo risings to put themselves out there to potentially find someone. So with that being said, do we have any questions about what we talked about, or anything that anyone wants to share, or anything that you want me to go over again? Keep in mind, if you want to do, this is general information. It's still good information, but it is general information. If you want to get a detailed reading that is specifically about you and your birth chart and your transit chart, please go to my website. I have pinned it at the bottom, www.melaningoddesslife.biz. Schedule a reading with me, and we can get down to the nitty-gritty of what is going on with you and your life. Not only your love life, but your career, your health, your family. All of those things that you want to talk about, we can talk about in a detailed reading, and it is specifically for you. Okay? So yeah. And also, I appreciate if you will share this video, or refer some people my way. I'm still trying to grow my business here, and I do that through the support of you wonderful people that come on here and support me. And again, I want to thank you for all your continued support. Thank you for participating in my lives. I do appreciate it.